Good morning, crime community. I'm here to read out a little more of Lynette's book. It's let's see, where are we here? I get a little lost. Okay. After a few minutes recess, John Verga rose to present his argument for the acquittal of Lynette Frome. To convict her, he said the jurors must reach an abiding conviction of her guilt. What an abiding conviction, Verga asked in a lasting conversation, not just ready or tomorrow or the next day or the next year or 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Someone comes up to you and says, Mr. Pruitt, Mr. Calabum, Mr. Conboy, Mrs. Abril, an interview. Was Lynette Frome guilty of the charges that you found her guilty of? You should unhesitatingly say yes. It's a lasting conviction, a conviction in your mind that must last with you as long as it lasts with her, no one that you just forgot about when you walk out of here. Verga was turned to a single objective, persuading the jurors not to acquit Lynn of attempted murder, but to convict her of the lesser included offense of assault on the president. Now it is the defense, not the government, that looked to its assault conviction at the last best hope to salvage victory from the Frome trial. Any contact which manifests a willful attempt or inflicts injury upon a person or presents an ability to do so constitutes an assault. An assault can be committed without actually touching or striking or doing bodily harm. So if you have the apparent ability and the point a gun at someone, you're guilty of assault. And reality in this particular case, the final decision that was going to have to make is, did she act with the intent to kill the president of the United States? Or did she assault him? Both are serious felonies. I'm telling you now that you should return a verdict of guilty of assaulting the president, both of what she did and because she did not act with the intent to kill the president. The predicate established, Verga turned, is the most challenging task, to bring the 12 middle-aged middle Americans to the jury into the mind of Lynette Frome. Mr. Key spoke with you about some of the letters that Mr. Frome had witnessed, and I want to read the Rosie letter to you because I think it really sums up what she has to say. And it is evidence that it was offered by the prosecution, so this letter is just as if she were here testifying. You know that Lynette Frome is an admitted member of the Manson family. You know that she believes in Charlie Manson. The reason she is not present in court is because she wants Manson here to regulate his thoughts and his feelings to you. He is not permitted to be here, Verga said, because of who his client. But just because someone believes in another person that you don't approve of does not mean that that person who believes this is a bad person. Many people believe in Hitler, and they're not all bad people. Many of the greatest generals in the world fought for him. Rommel, the Desert Fox, they made a movie about him. He was not a bad person. She says in here, I am certain that you could find in history men with a strange and mystical individual and yet all encompassing qualities of Manson if one could only think to compare. Now, you might not agree with what this has to say, but at least think to the compare. You can think of Christ, and you can think of Einstein, and you can think of Freud, and you can think of many artists, many writers, many men in the history of our country. A braver, real man would take a good long look at the phenomenon to see not what others think, but at least about it, but what is. Verga sounding more like a preacher conducting a biblical exegesis than a lawyer arguing the client's innocence, presents over each line as if it were fraught with meaning. Isn't that the truth, he asked? When you look at something, you have to consider what is, not what others think and feel about it, but what is. What is true? Sometimes we want to close our eyes to that. Well, that's what you have to do in this trial. You cannot be motivated by passion, prejudice, public opinion, public feeling. The letter goes on to say, this is difficult for the schooled mind to see, and you are to be respected for trying, not by me, by anyone, but by yourself. And you know, sometimes it is difficult for a schooled mind to think. I think we could all appreciate that sometimes people who have just book learning really know what life is about, don't really know what life is about. And there is an old saying, if you haven't walked a mile in my moccasins, you don't really know me. And you know, when I finished law school, this is a pamphlet they put out. It was called How to Find the Courthouse. It's a sad commentary, but that's the way it was. And I had all the book learning that I needed and really no practical experience. I did not have that understanding that I talked about before. Now, many people you have met in your lifetime that you could say, with all your training, and that particular person has, he or he has not seen the forest for the trees. You seem that the Rosie letter, through the image set out for us by the leaders and through financial backing to take a step forward, whiplashing and denying at the certain point in time when fashion swings into the revolution, the American mind is left blocked by dozens of already tried solutions in the overall problems that have fizzled. Nonetheless, the thoughts are still moving. Then he has focused on the politicians that Lynn and the most Americans viewed with such low regard. What imagine that they set out honestly to cut spending, stop wars, I'm going to this, I'm going to do that. And the reality is that when they are elected, how many of them really stick to their promises? Don't we just change the face? I don't know what happens to all of them, and that happens when that occurs. The young people lose faith because they not only the young people, but all people would believe in the dignity of man. What we are told certain things, that we are led to believe certain things, and those things don't materialize. You are very likely to have a revolution on your hands. Look at what happened in the 1960s, Virgo went on. The civil rights movement, People's Park in Berkeley, the problems of the induction center, the Berrigan brothers, two Jesuits with the priests pouring blood on the draft records. This is a time of great revolution in the country because people are stuck in their old thoughts. You know, this country will be celebrating the 20th birthday in 1976. The reason the revolution came about is because people wanted a new thought. People wanted equality, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, a jury trial, the right to tried by your peers and to be judged by them, and the Star Chamber proceeding, a fair and opening hearing. This is the burden of proof unto that, beyond all doubt and beyond moral certainty. We're going to leave it here for tomorrow because this is going to go on and on. And this is getting very interesting about Lynette's closing argument because she ends up actually subpoenaing the President of the United States. So we'll continue on another day. Have a good day.